Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest virtual panel of the CAR-PGA. This is the most recent, as we are launching in January. It is actually the 19th, so I'm keeping track of where I am and who I am. My name is Mike Truska. I'm your host, and I'm excited to talk to our guest, which we'll mention in a minute, but also cover some CAR-PGA as we kick off the new year. So there are a couple things that we had mentioned in the past that were coming up, and those are now here because it is the new year, which we're excited about. We're trying to stay on schedule with starting all new business in the beginning of the year, as most groups do. First, I want to welcome Tanya Pabuda. I may be saying her name incorrectly, but hopefully I am. Welcome, Tanya. She's a PhD in communication and culture, an MA in professional communication, and a certified project management professional. So we're very excited to have her join the CAR-PGA. Speaking of new members, you will also know and hopefully note that we have a list of members in the annual report. The annual report was distributed by email in the past couple of weeks. So we absolutely hope you read that. That is sort of a report card for both the board and me as chair, so all of us collectively. And we hope that's going to give you a little bit of a blueprint of what we did in 2022 and what we're looking forward to in 2023. And then finally, part of that report card is voting for the board. So we have our usual members, which includes myself, Ted Skirvin, Hawk, David Millions, and we also have Dr. Alan White as well, who has put his name in. We can have 5 board members, so the good news is there's space for all 5 of us. We absolutely hope you vote. It's really critical that you vote at least. You know, you can have opinions, diverse opinions is fine, but if we don't get voting, then it means folks are not as engaged as we hope, and we really hope this year is when we turn the corner on voting. So with all of that, I am pleased to say hello to our guest, Servant of Shiloh. Hello, sir. How are you?
How are you? Doing well, doing well.
Thank you for joining us. Ted is here as well with us, and we asked the board for recommendations and folks doing really interesting things in the role-playing game space, and your name came up as a huge opportunity to discuss anything besides the obvious sort of fantasy tropes that we normally engage with, which again, you know, not that they aren't part of the landscape, but we would love to hear more voices about different things that we're not normally covering. And I think this is an opportunity. So I love your channel. Thank you for doing it. How long have you been doing that channel?
Well, yesterday was officially the birthday. I have 2 birthdays for my channel. One birthday is when the channel was actually created. So my channel was created yesterday, January 18th, 2019. That's when it was created. However, when I created that channel, you know how it goes. It was just a little side thing I do every once in a while. I'm not serious about it. I'm not about it. I didn't get serious until August 12th of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
That's the day that I actually started it and said, okay, we're all in. This is a business. And that is when, that's how long. So I really consider myself to be doing this for about 1.5 years.
Well, happy birthday and a half. And so the channel is RPG Elite, which I love the name as well. It's clear you have a level of quality you're approaching with this. Before we get into that, which we'll talk much more about that. And I'm glad to hear that you're going strong. So how many videos do you have on there
I think 150 right now.
Holy cats.
I think 150, somewhere in there.
Just a few. Okay.
Yeah,
so clearly you're passionate about this. Clearly this is a thing that you've been wanting, you know, 150 videos is not from somebody who doesn't like gaming. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
So can you take us through sort of how you came about to gaming, and then we'll start talking about how you launched RPG Elite. But what's your gaming background?
Oh, well, once upon a time. No, it was back in the day. So, and this is very odd because I actually used to be that guy that made fun of people who played tabletop RPGs, right? Mm-hmm. So there was this guy in high school that he was a nerdy kind of guy. And I even remember what he had brought in. He brought in a Traveler module. So back then, he just come out. He brought in a Traveler module. and I think it was part of the basic set. And I didn't know what it was. And, I just made fun of him because I was just being a jerk. And so it was a couple years later, though, just a couple, where I got turned on to. So this is like 80, 83, 84, right? And so I got turned on to the whole concept of it and what it was by some friends of mine who I lived in the trailer park at the time, and they lived like behind me and onto the side. I could actually just walk over to their crib. And so I did, and they kind of got me. I was like, huh, what is this? So, of course, the first one I got into was the game that I refused to mention by name on my channel. And then I got hooked, and I got wind of another game. It was called Marvel Superheroes.
Ah, yes.
And I didn't look back. I went from Marvel Superheroes to Marvel Superheroes Advanced. I have every single thing that's ever been made for that game. I also started to play a whole bunch of other things. So I played Gamma World, 3rd edition, played some Travelers, played some Twilight 2000, played all kinds of different games. And every once in a great while, you go back to the 800-pound gorilla in the room as far as tabletop RPGs is concerned. But I didn't stay there. I had a Marvel campaign for like 7 years, and we had a blast. We had a lot of fun. I was taking a small hiatus in between there, and then I got right back into it and played all kinds of games, up until that point, I got back into playing some Marvel, played the One Ring, played the Numenera. Bruh, I've been around the block. So it's been a journey, and I just realized I'm going 40 years. Oh gosh. Of playing tabletop RPGs next year, I think, if not this year. It's crazy, man.
Every time I ask this question, I should warn people it's going to date them. I should prepare people for that. I do realize that after I say it. So that's is that the phase rip? Am I saying that right? Wasn't that?
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's phase rip days, right?
Yes.
All right. Oh
yes.
Yeah, that's a deep cut. That's not a casual like. That's life changing, the phase rip system. So that's awesome. Yeah, I played Marvel and Champions. We tried to do. But honestly, I had one guy do all the work for me. So I'd say like what my character, and he would do all the calculation, be like, here's your character. So we did Champions, and then certainly Heroes Unlimited was like a big for a long time. And then when Rifts came out, we just slammed it all together. And I don't know what happened to my character, but it was a hot mess. But it was a glorious hot mess, as gaming is in the 80s and 90s. It was great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you came back to it, you said, right? So you sort of came back.
Yeah, there was a small hiatus in the 90s. Right, from the 90s to like the 2000s, early 2000s. And then I came back to it, didn't skip a beat. Things changed, tastes changed, approach, just thinking about things, thinking about how things were. And the world changed, obviously, how we did things and how we did business and all the rest of that. And then you got into in terms of tabletop RPGs. Then you got into you got your virtual tabletops, and that was like it for me. I was like, oh my gosh, right? And here it is. I got all this other extra stuff with paper minis and battle mats and all the rest of that stuff. And then here we are with virtual stuff, and I'm like, oh man, this stuff to go and waste my money on. So I went ahead and got into both of them. Now I'm really into virtual tabletops because that's where my group is. But two of those people from that group are here locally. They've been playing with me for over a decade. And yeah, I've loved my group and haven't looked back. There's been a couple of people who've asked, and I had to tell them, the group is full. Yeah. And from our last couple of sessions, I asked them, I said, hey, you guys want to play something else, or you want to? Nope. They gave me a very confident no. Want to continue? Let's keep going. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, bro. I mean, I think the one that's been here for the least amount of time, because I've been running a One Ring campaign for about 5 years now, I think.
Mhm.
And the one has been here for this is the least amount of time. I think he's been here for about a year.
Fantastic.
So the other guys have been here much longer and having a blast, man.
So
Having a blast.
you're the forever GM. Is that are you the game master? And
Yeah, but here's the thing.
uh-oh, looks like there was a pause. Has it paused for you also? Yeah. Okay.
Can you see me?
Yeah. Sorry, there was a lag.
Oh,
Now
there
you're
he
back.
is.
Yeah, you're back.
There you go. Okay. Okay, so just this past weekend, I got sent this don't know what, people get a hold of you after they see the channel or something or whatever. So got a hold of my email. He sent me this thing called the Fate Mill Dice, right? And it's for solo play.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. So me and one of my guys from the game, he came over. We tried it out, just kind of like so I could actually play instead of running it, right? And it was, we tested it out. It was fun and it's pretty cool. I would only change like one or two things on there, minor things, but it worked out really well, very well. And it was one of the few times that I actually got a chance to play. So I am setting up something to do some solo play on the channel coming up in 2023 in RPG Elite, but I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use the Chaos system from Cypher, the Cypher system. So I'm going to use
awesome.
that. But looking forward to that because I get a chance to play per se, but I never get a chance to be a player. So
Right.
I am the forever GM boy, and I don't get it. Now I will say this: I'm having some. We're going to be doing a Blade Runner special on the channel here in a couple months, probably sometime in March, and I'm not running it. I'm not running it. So
All right.
that
All
is
right.
super cool. I get a chance to play, so I have to do all this.
You got to let it go too. You're like, whatever happens, happens. So get ready.
I'm telling you, I'm just gonna be like, hey, I don't even care at this point. Let me just play because I don't know how long this is gonna last.
That's right. That's right.
And
it is not easy. That's fantastic. So you've got a group. You obviously got the passion. You've obviously got the experience. I'm gonna say there's a lot of people. There's people who potentially have that combination. They don't launch YouTube channels. What made you decide with all that you were like, you know what, I need to launch a channel? What was the sort of the transition from sort of just gaming in general to saying, I want to do a YouTube channel?
It's funny. It's a good question, and I need just want to pause just for a second just to make sure I get this in my head right. But I think there were multiple reasons. I was looking to, number one, I was just looking to form a business and just trying out some ideas and doing some brainstorming. And in brainstorming, there were a couple of things that I do well, knew a lot about, and role-playing games were one of them. I've been doing it for a really long time. So I was like, this is, I know this stuff. So that was part of it. But another part of it was I was alarmed. I was alarmed by the state of the tabletop RPG culture. I was alarmed at the direction that it was going. Boy, I saw it coming. I've been saying this just in our private groups. I said, this direction is not a good one. I'm telling you this. This is not a good one. And so the third reason I guess would be that, man, come on now. I mean, we are limiting ourselves here, and there is a plethora of tabletop RPGs out there that, I mean, who does that? What actor, unless they're in a television show, what actor just acts in the same? I mean, everybody's not Frasier here when you're the same character for 22 years for crying out loud and in the same television show, right?
Right.
So, you're not, you mix it up. You go to different projects and you do different things, and it's different kind of show or whatever. And so kind of looking at tabletop RPGs in that vein. Some are, depending on how you run them, there's different shows and different things, and to stretch your imagination. And it just was not. We were just like pigeonholing ourselves, and I looked at it and still look at it as programming. I looked at it as programming of individuals, just this game or just these. And I was like, that's not right. I've been in this long enough, and it wasn't like that back in the day, right? I mean, that was popular. It was still a popular game, but everybody was playing all kinds of stuff back then.
Mm-hmm.
A new RPG would come out, and people would be like, let's test this out. Let's, see how this is. And some people stayed with it, but I see this as that's something that's not healthy. And so with those three reasons, I said, somebody's need to be out. And when I looked on YouTube to try to find things about the games that I had grown up with and the games that I was interested in and other games, what do you know? I got cricket. And I was like, man, are you serious that nobody's doing any of these? Yeah. And so that was the cue for me. And I was like, okay, yeah, we got to do this. And so sat down, wrote out my mission statement, why I was doing this, how I was going to do it, my agenda. And then I went at it, and I've been at it for a year and a half now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's clear. I mean, look, obviously it's a very popular channel. Obviously there's a need. And I think to your point, having a voice that's not sort of the mainstream voice of the thing that everybody's talking about more so than ever, which we'll get to in a second. But obviously RPG Elite is not just about the games. It's sort of a philosophy to it, right? So that's one of the other appealing pieces is there is definitely an approach that is, I think, unique to you that establishes quality. That's my phrasing, not yours. But what would you call the RPG Elite philosophy in its approach?
It's a mindset and it's a standard. Okay, so nothing. I have 10 qualities. I just started the last series of videos for the 10th quality of RPG Elites. These are qualities, and it's a mindset, and it's a standard. It's a high standard. It's not a low standard. It is a high standard. What's good about this is that you can always work towards that, right? And there are things that have developed even over the time that I've been explaining to people the RPG Elite philosophy, that it's a mindset. There's nothing about this that has anything to do with how much you know or your ability to do something. It's not what this is about. What this is about, if you look through every quality, this is a mindset, it's an approach, it's an attitude. And it seeks to raise the bar for RPG Elite sessions and to have RPG Elite sessions, not just sessions. Okay, well, mediocrity is the sign that you never want to get any better, and you never do. And who wants that, right? And these opportunities and investment that we have, especially as GMs, a lot of time that we invest in this. If you got a weekly game, that's really a lot of time. I'll have a bi-weekly game and it's still a lot. And you're going, what, 4-6 hours a stretch, right? So, I mean, they're trying to dumb down everything now to like 2 hours takes, but that's neither here nor there. Because that would be appalling to us back in the day. We'd be like, what? 2 hours?
I just sat down.
I'm going to say, what's going on, man? It's like 5-6 of us. We ain't done nothing. What are you talking about? We need some time here. So it's an investment. And if you're going to spend that much time on something, you are spending your life. So it's really looking at this for what it is. And so if you are spending that much time on something out of your life, oh yeah, you need to have something that's going to be a little bit more than mediocre. I mean, all the time that don't forget all the time that the GMs have to put into this. And then also all the time that the players have to put in is too, in terms of, if they like doing backgrounds or any other things that they like doing with their characters and thinking about ideas and bringing them to the table and right. And those are good players, by the way. But yeah, it's a standard that I'm extremely passionate about. And, you get all kinds of people saying all kinds of things. But there are people who are RPG elite in some things, but are not RPG elites.
Mm-hmm.
So they might have a quality here, and they might have a quality here, and they might say, yay and amen, I agree with you. But it's, as I've said before, to be an RPG elite, you need all 10. I mean, that's the bar. The bar is that you don't have one or you don't have two. To be an RPG elite now, you need them all. You can be RPG elite adjective phrase, but that doesn't make you an RPG elite. So it is a high standard. It really is a high standard. And as I break these things down throughout all of my videos, that's a lot of videos that I've done on an RPG elite philosophy. I'm not messing around here. It's not like just something just kind of like a fly-by-night thing that I just thought up on the fly. No, I have sat down long. And there's these other 3 videos that's about to come up. They'll be the last 3 in the series. These are what I would consider my creme de la creme in terms of, topping this whole thing off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really looking forward to doing these videos for this last quality. So it's a high standard, it's a mindset, and some people will make it, some people won't. Some people don't even like the term because they hear RPG elite, they think, oh, you think you're better than us, whatever. I'm like, where'd that come from? What? No, it's a standard, and a standard is like you could be a normal player or you could be an elite player. So It's a standard. That's all that it is. It's a mindset. Some people are with it, some people are not. Hey, to each their own. More power to you. But over here, RPG elite all day.
I love it. And it's interesting you say this, I brought this up before. You talk about board games, you talk about other hobbies, and then you're like, yeah, so you want to join a game that goes on 4 to 6 hours, probably potentially every week, lasts for, I don't know, as long as I want, or maybe 4 to 6 years, let's say. Can you imagine saying that out loud? Some people are like, what kind of game? What is that, a religion? Like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
But the truth is, it's a lifestyle, right? I mean, it's funny because I was talking to because I'm involved with scouting, so I was at we went to rock climbing. It was rock climbing, and my son was climbing, and all the kids were climbing, and one of the parents was like, "Yeah, there's like a lifestyle climber, like those people. That's all they do, just like runners. Like it's like a whole thing." And when I mentioned it to my gaming group, they're like, "This is a lifestyle too, right? Like this is it. Like this is what the amount of time you spend, and certainly me, like you said, like I'm like you, I'm all in, right? So this is part of me. It's not really indistinguishable. It is a component of who I am." But it's a lot of time, right? And intentional and well spent and, passionately invested, but it is not. I used to mention it to my father. He'd be like, that was a lot of time you spent to build that character, 3 hours or what? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay. Like, but again, to somebody who's not familiar with that, and certainly, by the way, someone new to it too, I think the understanding what it means to potentially invest this much. And I think to your point, saying, if you're going to spend the time, why not look about how we do it well, right?
That's right.
And I think that comes with maturity, too.
Yeah. You want to, because back in the day, you just did it, you passed time, you just have fun with the fellas hanging out. But as you get older, it's like, okay, wait a minute, man. My time is really valuable. It's really valuable. So don't waste it. Let's not waste it. And you want the experience to be more enriching and more uplifting. It's a collaborative storytelling effort, y'all. So it's you want that foundation. You want to be involved. You can be immersed. You want, and if it's good, well, you want to think a little bit outside once you leave that table. If it was a story that actually touched on some things that meant something, which is really where I think the power of tabletop RPGs come in as an art form. The sad thing is that most people don't look at it as an art form. And even me saying that, for some, they get the pitchforks and torches out, and they're like, "No, it's not." And I'm like, "Bruh, calm down. Yes, it is, and this is why." And we're like the red-headed stepchild of these storytelling art forms. Still a storytelling art form, and it's just by being storytelling, it's an art form. So it's inherent in the word. So if you're going to be doing it for any length of time, and you will be spending some time doing this, well, shoot, why do you want to spend time wasting it? You want to get down to the marrow when it comes to doing this. You want to get the best. I mean, or I do. I want to get the best experience that I possibly can get out of it, and work towards that every time, because it's hit and miss. Some days really good, some days aren't. You're always striving, because we always want that experience. That's where it just gets kind of like, again, my standards. Kind of like, yeah, we take this seriously. Do we have fun? Yes, but we still take it seriously in terms of the kind of experience that we want to have around the table, whether it's virtual or whether it's in person. So, yeah, man, I mean, that's kind of another reason why the RPG Elite philosophy, and there's experiences that I had that just was kind of like the last straw, and I was like, yeah, I ain't doing that no more. So, but here's the say, I am going to say this. Of course, I adhere to it. I am an RPG Elite. It works. I am not lying. It works like you would not believe. And, for some people, they may think it's too restrictive or whatever. To each his own, do your thing, But for me, I'm telling you, it's also a challenge for me as well, So it's more than it was before. It's just like you were saying earlier. There's a maturity, as you get more mature, you would think that you would develop. Hey, age doesn't mean maturity, so we all know that. But anyway, you develop a sense of, yeah, I think that I am now spending my time in a more mature and a richer way, that's affecting my life, and so affecting me. And at the end of the day, you wanted to, in some way, small or big, to make you a better person.
Absolutely. And it's funny, you already, I know we're all on the same track, because you anticipated the next question I'm going to ask you, which is, are you an artist? You don't have to answer because you answered it, which was really, it's interesting. The gaming, the RPG sort of industry in the game, it's one of the, if you look at it one perspective, it's the newest game, right? In terms of how many games have been invented, right? We've had cards, all this other stuff. But if you look at it as a continuation of storytelling, it's the oldest game. It's not actually the newest game, it's the oldest game. We had it around
Excellent.
forever. And to your point, there is an art to storytelling. Why wouldn't there be an art to role playing?
Exactly.
And I think that was fantastic. So I love it. And to your point, it's clearly needed. Frankly, as we get more players in, and they explore other games, we hope they will continue to find you waiting over there going, okay, are you done? Come on down.
That's what I'm saying. It's
yeah.
like, yeah, you get smacked around a little bit. You can come over here. We gonna welcome you. We'll wipe off your wounds, and then we'll just get down to business.
So you did mention talking about sort of plans. You've got videos coming out. What are your plans for 2023? To the extent you're willing to share, what are you thinking?
Well, I do have some games now. I do alternative genre RPGs, so no fantasy. Right. Oddly enough, I've been running a fantasy game for the last 5 years. But anyway, but I don't do fantasy for this, for the specific reason that you got plenty of that.
Yeah, of course.
That's out there. Okay.
Yeah.
What we want is other things, and there's so much. I have enough content to last me. I did the math as far as me doing 2 videos a week.
Right.
about 7 years worth of content.
Okay. That's a
Somewhere
lot.
in there.
That's a lot.
And now check it now. You have to also realize it's 2023, right? And my definition of classic tabletop RPGs are games that are 20 years old or older. So every year, there are games that fall into the classic category. So now I got to sift through all those and be, okay, which ones are going to be added? Which one's going to add? And I only do classics on Fridays, right? So I'm doing other stuff on, and all of that stuff. I am a YouTuber that never, ever, ever runs out of ideas. Like, you know, they talk about, oh man, you need ideas. I'm like, bruh, I am just like overwhelmed with ideas right now. I have to sift through things and go through my calendar, and I got things planned. So we've got some things planned. Like I tell you, we got Blade Runner planned. Okay, this is the first time that I've said this. So you guys are getting it. Probably nobody else is going to get it. So I think I feel pretty safe in putting this down.
Okay.
This is the first time I'm even announcing this. There's a special video that I'm going to do about the Satanic Panic. And that I tend to do videos that nobody else does. And I've been wanting to do this video since last September. And just writing out things, getting, researching, getting things together to do this video, plus some other videos. I just did a video that lost me a whole bunch of subscribers, but that's what I do. I say things in a particular way on purpose. And I just keep telling people that, and they don't believe me. And I'm like, really, I do. I sit here and I am calculated about the things I say and how I say them. I say these things on purpose because I understand this culture. I understand what's happened to this culture. And I know it was kind of like, this is the biggest hit of subscribers that has left the channel that I've ever had. And I'm like, well, I said, I was tame in that video. I can only imagine what's going to happen later on this year when I come out with a couple of the other ones. Good grief. Yeah. But that doesn't deter me, because again, I am passionate about this. I do have an agenda. I'm not going anywhere. And see, that's the thing that those people who took that exodus, that disturbs them. Right. They didn't know how to take me. They don't know how to take me for multiple reasons. Right. They came onto the channel. My most popular video is a video that why Black people, 4 reasons Black people don't play tabletop RPG. Right. That's clearly my most popular video, over 250,000 views. It is brought in a whole lot of feedback. But see, as I told you, I got over 150 videos, and I know these people don't watch all of my videos. So if you just come in on that video, click the subscribe button, and think that I'm one way just from one video, well, I can only say that disappointment is probably on the horizon, because once you get to see most of my videos, who you thought I was and how you thought I was, well, all of a sudden, I will, let me just say, I will not fail to disappoint. If that's all you got, But there are people who do watch a lot of my videos, have been there with me the whole time, and have stayed. And I am, I do think of myself as a champion for those people, a voice for those people, because of things that have happened in the culture. And we can talk about that all night long, but yeah, they don't feel like they have a voice, but they don't want to say anything because I don't want the drama. And I get it. So I'll take the drama, and I will take the hits, and I will speak for you, because that's how God wired me. Because I don't want to sound callous or anything, but at the end of the day, I don't care. I don't care some no-name individual on YouTube who's saying something and, getting brave because they're behind their desk at home, down in the basement or wherever they're at. And then they want to say something on a YouTube video towards me. And how is that making me care? I don't care. Say whatever you guys say. All right.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm going anywhere. It means that I'm going to press on. I have a whole agenda, and God willing, this is a 7-year plan. I'm on a
Wow.
7-year plan right now. So I'm not playing. And I do have an agenda. I keep saying it. I'm going to say it over and over again. I have an agenda. There's a reason I'm doing. There are multiple reasons why I'm doing this. So there's a lot of things going on this year. I'm going to be doing also going to be doing a evasive solo joint. Going to be doing some cipher system things.
Hmm.
We got planned some online gameplay things. I'm going to be launching the website. That's another one. I'm going to be doing this thing that I'm going to experiment with called the story, where you will see me play, but then there'll be interspersed in between what I just did as a story. So you just see it played out as a video story.
Wow.
And just kind of translating that from what I did in the game. And how would this flow just as a story if you were just listening or reading it or whatever? So that's an experiment that I'm going to try, or I plan on trying this year. And again, some videos that will make some people squirm, and that's good because we need that. Not just to make people squirm, but to talk about stuff that we normally don't like to talk about, or
Hmm.
sweep under the rug and all the rest of that stuff. Um, but we're still going to press out with some good, we're still going to cover some good tools. Just like right before I got on here, some of the things that Chronos Builder is doing, Dungeon Alchemist is doing some good things as well.
Yep.
All the different kinds of virtual tabletops coming out. I'm a Foundry guy myself, but then you got one that I kind of like, even though I'm not really good on browser-based virtual tabletops. But Let's Roll is another one, and I've been with those guys for a while, and I kind of want to do something. So there's plenty of content, plenty of things that I plan on doing this year. But up in the game a little bit with some solo plays, some longer online gameplay, special events, some more of the more modern alternative genre tabletop RPGs, and doing some things with those. Having some guest individuals, GM, thank you, so I can get a break. Yeah, so there's quite a bit this year. Will be. I'm excited for it because there's a lot of major things that's going on. One of them just being the website. So I'm excited. I'm just going to see how this pans out. We're starting off well, taking a hit, losing subscribers. So starting off real well there. Hey,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
But I tell you what, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I know that, and it's part of YouTube, right? So it's part of, you just got to listen. If that's gonna ruffle your feathers and make you all upset, then you need to not do YouTube, because that just happens. People come, people go. If you say one thing that they don't like, you'll get an exodus of folks. It's how it is. So you might as well just be who you're gonna be and stop trying to please everybody, and just be comfortable in that.
Amen.
And that's what I am. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I really am. I'm excited about this year and all the things we got planned.
That's fantastic. And sorry to hear that. I mean, on the one hand, as an artist, I expect nothing less than you to push buttons. And by the way, I don't think you're pushing buttons. I think you're just speaking your truth. So let's just be clear. I don't think that's controversial. It's more that that's the problem with other people, not you. But I do appreciate you. One of the things we're seeing certainly from gaming, and again, if you've been around long enough, you see this, which is the diversification of gaming. And it's not just diversification of the people who are playing, it's the play styles, it's the experiences people are coming to it, people who come to it with trauma that we didn't have to consider before, that you're like, okay, maybe that's not cool. Some of the things that you put in your game, having adult conversations, all these things that is part of the diverse experience, because there are new players who are totally not the same people that necessarily we may played with at the table, because they're not our friends anymore. They're definitely from a wide range of experiences. So I think it's fantastic that you're not shying away. And to your point, I think you're also smartly doing it in a way where you're building this volume and this catalog, but the reality is you earned it. You could say whatever you want now, as far as I'm concerned. So you should I'm glad that you're
Yeah, well,
using your voice.
well, a lot of my stuff is evergreen, so it
Hmm.
doesn't matter. Years from now, if somebody wants to go and say, man, I want to play Gamma World. I just found this, classic game. How do you play this? So they go to YouTube and type in Gamma World, and I
Yep.
will dominate because I already have looked. I will dominate.
Right.
They will all they'll see is my videos. I'm
Hmm.
doing Top Secret right now. I don't get a lot of views on these videos. So why
Hmm.
do you keep doing them? I keep doing them because they're evergreen, and eventually they're going to find me. If somebody does a search for that on YouTube, there's nobody doing Top Secret First Edition except me. And so there'll be enough people over time. And so all of these games, so think about that. All of these games, once you build a big enough catalog of the games that nobody else is covering,
Hmm.
trust me, eventually they're going to find that guy that is doing those games. And over again, they will keep finding that guy if they keep searching for those kinds of games. And then eventually they'll become part of the family and understand that, hey man, this is there's this is so there's a plethora of stuff out here, way more. You got options. Don't pigeonhole yourself, and do not stunt your own creativity and imagination by being programmed to just do one thing. So, or play one game or whatever. There's way too much good stuff out there.
So now we're coming to it. You knew it was coming because
Yeah.
we've laid the groundwork or everything else up to this point, and I think this probably means I hope you're having a moment potentially, because I think a lot of people are probably pretty disappointed with the main game, that the 800-pound gorilla. And I say this, I have friends who work. I feel bad in the circumstance. So people aside, let's take that out of the equation. But certainly people are understanding that this controversy is showing. And by the controversy, for those, again, this video will be around for a while. So just put it in context. There's controversy around the open game license and how third-party producers can use it. And there's a question of if larger companies can revoke it, even though supposedly it couldn't be revoked. There's a lot of people for 22 decades who've been making games and didn't think they could revoke it. And now apparently the company's saying that they can. So that's where we're at currently. But as you can imagine, this has shaken a lot of people to their core. And it's also made people aware, which we hope turns up to be a net positive, that there are other games out there, and other ways to play, and that the RPG industry is not defined by one fantasy game, but by all this other content. So I'm
Yeah.
hopeful. I'm hoping for you, because there's a lot of folks I think who are jumping on the bandwagon, and between you, me, and everybody watches the stream, I'm not feeling it. You were already there. Okay. So I'm a little like, yeah, okay. I'm glad everybody's like, hey, look at my game. No, I feel like you certainly are, by speaking to your truth, which is timeless, to your point, right? People 10, 20 years from now, it's still going to be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
If there was anybody to welcome them to the off ramp, is Servant of Shiloh, an RPG.
Yep. I'm so passionate about this. Something that I'm doing, another thing that I think I may have mentioned this on my channel, but maybe once, kind of in passing. But I just mentioned this to my wife not too long ago. And, here locally, so this is just not even on the channel, even though I'll probably do something over there that'll put it on the channel. But I want to go down to my local library, which is right down the street, and I want to start something for tabletop RPGs for the kids there, specifically because there is this. There's a lot of kids that go there that normally who wouldn't play. So
Yep.
to open them up to that, say, hey, this is what you can play, or this game exists, and do you want to try it out? And to be there to introduce them to that. So a little bit of tabletop RPG evangelism. And I want to work with my local library to be able to do that, because I really am passionate about how tabletop RPGs can be effective in so many ways in people's lives. And I'm sure that if we would sit down with people who've been in it for a while and discuss the impact that it's had on their lives, they will probably tell you some stories. So what's going on right now? You know, I was talking just the other day with one of my guys. The guy's going to run Blade, and we were just talking for a while. And I said, and he's a lawyer, so he looked through that whole thing. And he said, he was like, "No, bro, I'm done." He was like, "Nah, I can't do it." He was like,
Yeah.
I can't. No, there's
Yeah.
no way. I'm done." So he goes, "But this doesn't affect you at all, does it?" And I said, "Absolutely not." I was like, "It doesn't." I mean, I see what's going on. I know what's going on. I knew it was going to happen. I and I one of my they were one of my viewers said, "Bro, you predicted this. You saw this coming, didn't you?" I was like, you know,
And you saw it coming too,
it is
because
what it,
we've seen this before. That's the other problem.
yeah.
The cycle comes
You
back
know,
around. We've seen it. It's happened
this is
before.
that's why I didn't want to. Don't You never want to put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, they tell you that just from basic finance 101. If you're doing investing, you never want to put all your eggs in one basket. You want to diversify. You want to, put a little bit over here, over here, over here. Because if something goes down, then okay, well, I got this over here. It's bad that went down, right? But I still got I'm still good. I'm liquid. I'm cool. Man, the thing that in hearing all of this, I felt bad for all the cats who were told one thing, right? And then, well, when you renege, and that just, and I've always said, the company lacks integrity. I'm telling you that right now. But nobody want to listen, and everybody's going to do their thing, and I'm crazy, right? Until now, I'm not crazy now, right? But I'm not going to be like I told you so, but I told you so, and it's sad because now I'm seeing all these people. They put in all this hard work. They've been told one thing, and now the script has been totally flipped on them. And now you're talking about livelihoods. You're talking about people that have been doing this for like years, over decades, and making bank. I'm not talking about small amounts of money. These people are making bank because I've seen the stuff I'm like, man, putting down some cash here, right? But now, right, instead of just getting that out of the way at the very beginning and just setting something simple up, right? I was talking to my friend. Now, I don't know. I saw the license, but I didn't read through the license. But this is what my friend said. My friend said, now you can verify this because you probably know better than I do. So, but my friend said something about they're talking about loot box, something that was like loot box like. So you would buy a weapon or something like that, and then you could just say, hey, I have this weapon because I bought it outside of the game, and now I have it in the game. So you didn't earn it.
That's the NFTs. The NFTs. Yep, that's what they're worried
Oh,
about.
you must be out of your cotton picking mind. That's
that's what they're worried about.
And he said that, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
I didn't. And even though I believed him, because he's pretty. When I was like, there was still a part of me that was like, this seems crazy, dude. Like for tabletop RPG, that's crazy.
And it's interesting because we're starting to come up against the wall. I haven't written the article yet because it was sort of, what if the D&D movie is good? And the reason I say that is because there's a wave of something coming that we are not really fully understanding if it gets enough popularity. So the good news is you're going to get a lot of gamers. The bad news is you're going to get a lot of people who don't know what gaming is, but will be excited potentially by this. Who gets them is this existential battle that's happening right now. That's what this is about. It's not about the game. It's not about the money. It is very much about who gets that future revenue stream of these fans for life. And it's the movie's just the beginning and is not the end. But people are looking at big bucks, millions of dollars, not even the little blips of what we make in the game industry. So it's sort of an existential crisis. But to your point, nobody's coming to take our games. They can't. Like you said, you'll be fine. Your game doesn't stop tomorrow. I do worry about the virtual tabletop piece a little bit because I think they could squeeze and say, you know what, you got your license right. I don't know that they would, but you could potentially say Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, you actually lost your license now if you don't pay or whatever. So potentially, but even then you could still do, if you want to do Discord or you do something over the phone. My son did that. He played his first game and I was like, so you're going to use Roll20? He's like, yeah, we just got on Discord and just talked. I was like, oh my God, you mean like old school D&D? Like you guys just just said whatever you wanted and then the DM rolled the dice for them. They didn't even roll dice. They had no virtual platform at all except in their heads. It was amazing. Magic. Absolute magic. And he came around to it. My son is more he's like a gaming veteran since he was 4 because, it's me. So he's got experience. But anyway, so no, I do, to your point, it's so important to keep that perspective. I really appreciate you having it. I think it's critical to have that. And again, you're not, like I said, I don't always have a good reaction. People say, oh, see, just come to this game because that game sucks. What you're talking about is quality and quality in gaming overall. So, and it's not just one game, it's multiple games, but it is saying that it is quality independent of any specific only game, but look at all these other opportunities to express it, which I think we need more of it. I think that's, frankly, I see what you're doing as a sign of maturity of the industry too, which is that we're now getting to the stage of saying gaming has a level of expertise that we should recognize and aspire to.
Yes, this is true. And what's even, for me, I'm like, listen, now it's kind of what I do. So I have to look at games and I have to look at systems and I have to get down and get dirty with them. And sometimes there's just some things that, let's just be honest, there's games that's just better. They're just better.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I've been in this for a minute. So this is not me just like being just games that are better. Sorry, better systems, better lore, better everything. It is what it is. But when you're programmed, this is the game. This is, and then you go, that's where all you go. I can't do that. I need variety. I need options, and I want people to know. Listen, you have variety and you have options, and they're good games. I'm not just picking stuff off the top of my head. I'm picking specific games that I know these are decent games. These are fun games. Some of them are classic. They're a little bit crunchy. I understand that. That'll be good for some people, not good for others. Your mileage is going to vary. But overall, these are good games. And some of them I do for nostalgia. Top Secret First Edition, that's one for nostalgia. It's a little bit crunchy in the combat, but there's really no rolling the dice. So that's one cool thing about it. And there are different systems and different things, but there are some games out there that are just really good. And, I get emails all the time from independents that I really would like to support because they just don't read what I'm about. And if I see the email comes through and it's a fantasy game, I don't even reply because I'm like, okay, well, you didn't even do your due diligence to
you watch my channel.
I was very to say, I was like, goodbye. So, but there are some who, I've got some that's coming up that's kind of alternative things for some videos I'm going to do.
That's awesome.
One is having a Kickstarter next month, and I just kind of went through their stuff this past weekend, I believe. And I'm going, okay, I think we can do that too. And these are alternative genre stuff. This is brand new stuff, indie stuff. Listen, if it's decent and if it's good, let me check it out, and let me see if I can cover it because everybody wants me to cover something now.
Oh, I bet you're in high demand, frankly.
So I'm like, okay, hold up, and I don't reach out to anybody. I don't reach out to companies. I think the first time I just reached out was for the Blade Runner system for Foundry. I reached out to Free League. I was like, hey, could we have the actual system for Foundry? Because, I made one, but it would be a lot better for the video if we had the right system. And they were like, lightning fast. Oh, yeah, sure. Here it is. And I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, that was quick. I mean, I didn't expect to hear from them for weeks. And they were like, on it, man. And I will say, Free League has been off the chain. And again, I don't even know how they got my information. They contacted me. I started getting all these emails, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I never contacted you guys, so I don't know. But I was glad that they did, because there were some games that I really wanted to explore, and some good games. So they're getting ready to send me Aliens. They sent me a whole bunch of
Oh
stuff for
yeah.
base. They sent me Blade Runner, and they sent me Cyborg. Thumbs down.
Oh.
I already did a review for that. Not my cup of tea. Did a full run on that. Sorry, that one wasn't so good.
Sorry to
But
interrupt. Mike, did you have many more questions to go?
No. So to Ted's point, in the interest of time, I want to make sure we let Ted answer his question. I'll put him on the screen. So,
okay,
Servant of Shiloh, Ted, we have a question. Ted, you have a question?
Yeah. So I first saw your channel. Basically, I was like at some other channel, and yours was in the recommendeds over on the right side. And I think that was the 4 reasons.
Black people don't play tabletop RPG.
Right. That was the first video I saw. So then I went to your channel, looked around a little bit. But my question is kind of about Black gamers in general, and kind of like your take on what you've seen, and I can kind of get into what I've seen too, as far as entering the hobby and more of them coming into the hobby. And it goes beyond gaming also for general genre stuff. There's a convention here in the Atlanta area called OnyxCon, which is based on what they call Afrofuturism, which is genre literature basically, and comic books and that kind of stuff. So there seems to be more of it, and there seems to be more Black people that are willing to be into genre stuff and not worry about what people say about that. And I have seen more Black gamers here in the Atlanta area. I was kind of trying to get your take on what you've seen as far as has there been an increase in Black gamers in general?
I think that we've kind of have been a subculture within subculture, and because of that, there's not a lot that gets said about that. We've kind of been here in the background more so, but now that the tabletop RPGs are kind of getting a little bit of mainstream attention. Now you're seeing a lot more, and because the world has changed, and you can see, everybody's connected and social media and all the rest of that. So where back in the day, where I was Black Eyed Pea and rice all of the time at the table, but I never had any problems. I never ever had a problem, not once. And everybody was just sitting down to have some fun. I never got to play with another Negro player, never. But that didn't bother me. I don't need that. I'm playing a game. I'm playing somebody else anyway. What's the deal? So let's just play the game. And with everything that's changed with the internet and everybody being connected now, what we see as, maybe an increase in players probably isn't, because as I read through even my comments, and you can go through those, you could try to go through those 3,000 plus comments that's on that video, but a lot of those people are Negroes, and they have said that I've been doing this since the 80s. I've been doing this since the 90s. So there's a little bit of an illusion there to think that, there hasn't been any. I said, but there hasn't been a lot of them maybe in one place. Overall, though, even if we look at the population, and I said this in the video, even if we just look at basic population density, all right, so what, we're 13, 14% on a good day of the population. All right, so let's just, this is very simplistic, but let's just break it down. All right, so what's the chances that you're going to run into a Negro player in a tabletop RPG? 13, 14%. So how, that's not much. You're not going to see him there.
Yeah.
Right? So there's nothing wrong with that. Now, one of the things that I just talked about that I'm doing, I'm going to go over to the library, and a lot of those young people over there are young Negro people that I am going to try to get into tabletop RPGs. And that's just one of the things that you can do for multiple reasons that I want to do that. Passion, but I just think that they're just creative as anybody else. And if they would just have the outlet, be able to express that, then, we would see more. And they would just have the freedom to be able to do that. Because like I said in the video, Black culture will suppress that in a heartbeat. It just will. It's just been doing that forever. There's a little bit more freedom now. There's a little bit more understanding of these things. A little bit more. It's still there. Don't get me wrong. But as far as understanding certain things and understanding, okay, this is actually what it is. And just having the freedom to do so. Virtual tabletops now, where you can actually do that on the computer. People can be playing that, and other people just think they're playing a video game. And they can still experience the whole thing of playing tabletop RPGs. If they can't experience it in person. I've heard some good things that happen, I've heard some bad things that happen in relation to that. So I think that because the world has changed and now we're more connected, I think that once people will see that, there's a whole lot more here than what you think, that will kind of give, I don't know, license for confidence for others to be like, oh, well, shoot, I was interested in that, but, people wasn't really down, in my hood, so I just wasn't going to mess with it. But now, maybe I might try it out a little bit. Now, they might do it on the DL, but they'll still try it out. And I think that across the board, not just Negroes, but Caucasians, Hispanics, everyone, I think we have a great opportunity right now just to do some really firm and solid, good tabletop RPG evangelism to get people interested in this timeless hobby that can really, not only can you have a lot of fun doing it, but there's so many benefits to it because of story, which we've been enamored with as human beings for thousands of years. And that's not going to change anytime soon. So I think that just getting it out there and wherever that you're at will increase the, people who are interested in it. And if everybody does their part, I think we'll see it grow across the board, not just in one ethnic group, but in all of them.
Yeah, I haven't really, at least around here, I haven't seen per se like Asians playing RPGs, which seems kind of weird, but because they seem to be more into genre stuff in general, like anime and stuff like that.
Right.
But not RPGs.
And it might be a cultural thing as well, and to break through that, so they can understand that, this is what goes down. You can take it or leave it. If you don't like it, that's fine. No big deal. If you do like it, hey, come on through sometimes, and, we'll do a little something. Sometimes it's just like, sometimes it's ignorant. Sometimes people just need to be introduced to it. Sometimes they might not even be interested at all, even after they're introduced to it. All right, at least try. Not the end of the world. And I don't think that there is any kind of inherent bias in the culture or ever actually was. So I'm just not one of those guys. I'm not one of those guys. Okay. And I can prove that has not been the case, not only from my personal experience, from actual data. So it is, I don't see that, And if we keep focusing on that as if that's a thing and it's a major thing, then we'll never get anywhere. We got to focus on the things that are going to actually grow the community. And that means that we just have to go out there and get our hands dirty and introduce people to, because a lot of people won't introduce it because they think that those people are going to think that, oh, well, he's a nerd or he's weird or he's a geek or this and that. And so they never say anything. They just, hey, us four no more over here. We're doing our thing and I'm having fun. And that's it. It will never, ever grow with that kind of attitude. So that's not going to help either. We need to get people really more involved and passionate about it. And wherever they are at, invite a person or actually do some really laser targeted tabletop RPG evangelism and, introduce them to these things in whatever way you can, whether it be in your own home, whether it be at a library, whether it be at a coffee shop, however you want to do it. You can do it one-on-one, you can do it with just you and maybe two other people, or however you want to do it, but to be actually proactive in doing that. Some people are good at that and will, be able to do that. Some people just won't feel comfortable doing it. We'll have to. But there are enough of us out there who do feel comfortable and passionate about it to where if we did that, okay, well, across the board, you're just going to see an uptick in the amount of people who will play. And that will just grow as one does it, and then another will do it, and then another will do it. And, you'll get the amount of people that we should get. So I don't think we should be so focused on the ethnicity thing. Actually, I don't think we should be focused on it really all that much. I just think that if you do it where you're at with the people who are surrounding you, it'll work. Some people will come and some people won't.
Yeah. And I guess the next question is something Mike may have already talked to you about or not. I don't know. But would you be interested in becoming a member of this committee?
Oh, no. What? Well, wow. I don't know. I'd have to actually.
You don't have to answer on the stream.
I'll take send me some stuff. Let me know a little bit more about it. Let me do my due diligence.
Did Mike tell you the website we have or anything?
No, but he sent me some emails and I'm sure he's got some links.
It's in there.
You got some links.
It's in there.
Yeah, go take a look at the website and that'll explain what the Committee for the Advancement of Role-Playing Games is all about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll take a look at it, and that would thank you for asking. I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, I'll take a look at it and I'll see I'll go through and see, if I can.
Well, there's no charge, so there's no monetary layout. So.
Yeah, I just want to. I don't know. My thing wouldn't even be that. It would be time, and I want to. If I commit to something, I want to make sure that I, But like I said, I'll go ahead and do my due diligence, and I really thank you for that. That caught me off guard there, but I'll take a look at it and go from there.
Okay.
So thank you for that time. I really appreciate it. I was going to say, one of the great ways to obviously do all this is video, getting people to see it, getting people, from all walks of life to see them play it. Right. So that's part of the problem that you talked about is like, if we could only take that experience that you want to do at the library and share it everywhere. Oh, you mean YouTube? That would be a great way to do it. Right. So absolutely. Mm-hmm. To that point, though, to Ted's point, many of our members are librarians and have connections that could potentially help. So they are part of national role-playing organizations that pitch it to libraries. And I'll tell you, the libraries don't always get why they need groups of kids or adults in a room for 4 hours. So it is an interesting uphill. It's fascinating. Like my local library, but like, yeah, you can do that, but that's for small business. That's the $200 package a week or something. And we're like, come on. But this is because libraries aren't, and it's not that they wouldn't do it. They're just not structured because no one's really sort of brought that to them. So we have resources, but just to wrap this up, because I want to be sensitive to your time, what can we do to support you?
Tell people about RPG Elite. Tell them about the channel. And, I think that would be enough, share it or share my videos or share the videos that you like. Because you're not going to agree with me 100%. But
well, I know
that you like.
I know you're probably very busy, but if you write an article for our newsletter about pretty much anything RPG related, then we'll put it in our newsletter.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Well, I didn't know that either. Hey, now that's something I wouldn't mind doing, because again, there are all these things that I bring up that nobody seems to be doing any videos on, or people are like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. You don't know how many times I heard that one. I never thought of that. Yeah, this is a social hobby. Very social, very interactive and connected with other people. You have to be on your P's and Q's. and you have to be connected with people in order to get that experience. And that by itself has within it all kinds of pitfalls when it comes to, you know, everybody has dealt with somebody. And so there are a lot of experiences as a result of that we need to think about these things and talk about these things in order to get that RPG Elite experience, right? Because just because somebody's playing RPGs doesn't mean that they should play RPGs. Oops, well, I guess that'll trigger somebody somewhere out there. But because they don't get it, right? They don't get the social context of it. They don't get the why. They don't get the collaborative aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get that, And in some way, it is broken down. Somewhere along the line, it breaks down in terms of them understanding that. And some people you can't talk to. You just probably should be playing with them. But I think I've mentioned that on my channel. There are, because just there's some people that just shouldn't, I think as I said before, RPG Elite philosophy looks to bring up the whole RPG Elite culture, on the whole tabletop RPG culture, the whole art form itself. And so it may look like it's harsh, especially to some people today, in what it espouses. And it's not harsh as much as it's realistic. That for many people, they live in a dream world and in the delusion today. And so they really don't like that, So I can't fix that. But if you go across the board there and just go, okay, if we do this, it is going to bring it up. And it will weed out those people who are bringing it down. It'll just weed them out if you did that, right? And you don't really have to do a whole lot of anything. You just have to bring up your mindset and your standard. If you adhere to that, trust me on this. Those people won't want to play with you, and you certainly ain't going to want to play with them. Now, of course, even an ugly duckling can find a mate. And, they'll probably go and find somebody, but it will not be as destructive because those people, they won't, they ain't going to deal with it either, right? They'll be like, hey, I'm in and out. So if we care about the art form, then we'll just go out, we'll do what we need to do. And if we have a high standard about the art form, instead of, there's some barriers we gotta break through. We gotta break through that, oh, this is nerdy. We gotta break through, oh, this is weird. We still have to break through those barriers, right? And just general ignorance. I just know people who have no clue about what tabletop RPGs are about. Hey, what? What's that? What does that mean? That video game? I've gotten that. So
my favorite was, I played that game. I beat that game. that one statement clearly sums up. They go, I beat that game. You're like, what? Okay. Well, now we know where everybody stands. Just say, when they say I beat that game, you go, okay, all right. I got you.
I get you. I got you now. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Alrighty then. Kind of one of those things, but
yeah,
it's just, again, doing all those little things that you can do to, some people can do more than others, doing whatever you can in your part of the world. And with the internet and everything, and with the advent of all these other things, and like I said, with a little bit of it going mainstream, yeah, man, I think that we can see some very positive results. And I think we got to go through some pain first before we get there.
Oh, we're the pain's coming. Don't worry. I'm feeling it already. Separation
Yeah.
started.
Yeah,
I'm feeling
it is. It's one of those things that you go, well, it's the for a little while it looked like it was great, right?
Yeah.
That was just the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
So now here
I
comes
say
the
you
storm.
can push or be pushed. You can dive off the platform or it can go on fire and you got to jump off. So it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, make your decision, right? But yeah, number one, I thank you guys for having me on. Really appreciate it. I enjoy these. I had one with shoot, I forgot those guys' names. But I had one, and I forgot this name right now. It's I'm lost.
We'll put it in the notes. We'll put it in the show notes. So we're like,
yeah.
Servant of Shiloh apologize for getting you guys' names.
I didn't even get their name, but
it's fine.
I was with them. It was like 6 hours I was on their podcast. And the only reason why I was on that long is because I had told that dude back in February that I was going to, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I finally got on there, I think in October. So I was
boy.
I felt obligated. I was
right.
This dude has been waiting
time
for me for like all this time. Let me just stay on here with him so he can get, it was fun though.
You've been so gracious with your time. I really appreciate it. Don't go anywhere. We'll stop the recording in a second, but just as a sort of a wrap up, what we will do is we do a newsletter every month, as Ted mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And we also will certainly link to your YouTube. Any other socials you think of, we'll give you a chance to, if there's anything else you want to mention that we missed or that we should include, we'll put that in there. And then this video will go up in the archive for our YouTube channel. So we'll make sure that it gets the love. And to your point, we're so grateful for you doing all this work. Again, thanks to Ted for recommending you.
Thanks, Ted. Yeah,
I'm just
I appreciate
talking
it
head.
too.
I'm just a talking head. I just show up and talk. But I really appreciate you doing this. I think you're doing fantastic work. There's more to. It's just getting started, as far as I can tell. But we will absolutely include all that stuff, and we look forward to. No pressure that, Ted just ambushed you on this stream that he wants you to join us. But that aside, we look forward to hearing more from you one way or the other, whether you join or not. No pressure.
Well,
thank you so much.
I like to be connected. And so this is kind of like a networking thing for me. So, no matter what, I just want to, just hang out with folks and be connected with them. So most definitely, I'll keep in touch. No, there's no doubt about that.
Fantastic. Don't worry. We know where your stream is. We know where to find you. So. And if you were trying to hide, don't have a YouTube channel. I'm sorry. All right. With that, I'm going to wrap up the call. Thank you. Stay online. Don't go anywhere. I'm just going to hit end on the recording here.